And now we are approaching a very important segment of the program. It's my absolute honor and privilege to introduce a truly royal personality, Mr. Yajurvindra Singh Bikal. Can we have a big round of applause for him? He's a scion of the royal family of Bilka, has played Test and ODI cricket between 1976 and 1980. He holds the distinction of achieving 2 world records in his debut Test match against England in Bangalore in 1977. One for the maximum catches in a Test match and the other for the maximum catches in an innings. The world record of the maximum number of catches in a Test innings still stands. He played Test matches against England and Australia, played international games against Pakistan and West Indies. He was a part of the Indian Cricket World Cup and the Test squad of 1979 held in England. He played first-class cricket from 1972 till 1982 for Maharashtra and Saurashtra. He captained both the sides as well as the rest of India in the Irani Trophy. Sir has also served as the chairman of the Maharashtra Cricket Selection Committee and has been a selector for the West Zone cricket team. Presently, Yajurvindra sir is a director, board member of the newly formed Indian Cricketers Association, that is the ICA, a company that has been set up by the BCCI for the welfare, interests and benefits of the former and present Indian cricketers. ICA is the only recognized voice and body of the cricketers in India. Sir is a total sports freak and has played tennis, squash, hockey and golf at the club and the corporate level. He is a frequently invited expert on TV cricket shows and panels, has written extensively in the print media and speaks at several forums on cricket, sports management and leadership. He has a weekly column that is extensively circulated through IANS. Apart from cricket, Yajurvindra sir is also somebody who excelled in corporate world by holding senior and strategic positions in blue chip companies like the Mahindra and Mahindra Automobile Division and Tata Consultancy Services. He was also the managing director of Wisden India, a subsidiary of Wisden UK, the foremost authority on cricket. In his 4 years tenure at the Wisden made a significant impact in India and the print media with the Wisden magazine and Wisden Online. The stage now belongs to Yajurvindra Singh sir as he takes over. I'm sure this is really going to be the crux, the most important segment of the evening. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much. The only thing I told you, don't read all this. Yeah, and you did exactly that. Anyway, good evening, everyone. It's wonderful to always be at a cricket forum and listen to all these stories. Let me first thank Marcus to invite me over here. And it's always wonderful to be with cricket lovers. The topic they've given me is, like a very difficult, it's a tricky question they've given me. And I think I'm going to finally leave it to all of you to answer it. Is who is the best out of Sunil Gavaskar, Sachin Tendulkar, and Virat Kohli? Now it's Sachin's birthday, so I know all of you are going to be a little bit more generous towards that. But I'll take you through, I've seen them, all 3 of them. I've played a lot with Sunil Gavaskar, naturally. And we've had some very good relationships. We've seen Sachin grow from what he was from the school onwards. And then we've seen how somebody like Virat Kohli is now the tycoon that is coming about, the aggression that is coming about. Like I said, comparing players from different eras can be challenging, as each of them has brought some sort of, they're all legends. And there's nothing, it's all different eras, different things. What we should be very happy about is that in the last 50 years, India has got 3 brilliant god of cricket. I put all of them in that same range. But let's not forget, before, when we started the Legends Club, I was a part of it as well. We had the Vijay Merchant, the Vijay Hazare, and the Vijay Manjrekar. And they were all, as when we grew up, including Sunil, we were looking at them as the god of cricket. And like you all have said all these things, we have had some very good relationship with those people, with Mr. Hazare, fabulous man, must have been a brilliant player, Vijay Merchant as well. I mean, I've had interaction with him. He taught us a lot as well. And I remember there was one occasion, I'm diversing a little bit, where he was on the commentary and I was playing against Bombay. It was a Maharashtra-Bombay match. I was a young player at that time. Walking in, there was commentary. You could imagine there was commentary during Ranji Trophy. The stands were filled. Walking in there with all Wadekar and Sardesai and all, and they just come from all that winning against England and against West Indies. Walked in and got out for one or something, came back. And at lunch, I had Vijay Merchant, and I went to say hello to him. And he said, Yajurvindra, can you get a few more runs in the second innings? So I said, why? I mean, I was quite surprised because he said, by the time I was introducing you, and I know your family, you came back, you were out. So I said, there's a lot of things that I want to talk about you, so make sure in the second innings you spend enough time on the wicket. He slaughtered my confidence at one rate. But that was it. You know, if you talk to Trevor Bailey and you talk to the Englishmen of those times, and they talked about Vijay Merchant at that time. They talked about Vijay Hazare. And then we come to Sunil Gavaskar, who I'll say a lot about as well. But like I said, this is like our, what you would say in Hindu, Trinity, the God. You know, whether it's Brahma, whether it's Shiva, or whether it's Vishnu. You can't choose between them, and you cannot choose between these three as well. You know, they're all gods. One created, one is perceived through it all, and one is now showing all the aggressions that we have. And the only way we can really actually sort of at least break down is what value that they gave in their own ways. Now, Sachin, we have heard so much about, and I can tell you, as a senior cricketer, the respect he gives you is incredible. I do understand what all you have said, because you all have played with him. Whenever he meets me, there's nothing like, hello, sir. The first thing, you know, and it's very rarely that you find somebody addressing you in that manner. It's at any occasion or anywhere. The respect he gives you is incredible. And that's what we all love about him. The human part of Sachin Tendulkar, the achievements that he's made, I mean, the records that he's created, it's just phenomenal. I mean, I played this game and I can tell you, we heard about him when he got the 600 runs. It was just near Bombay Gym. And then we all wanted to see him. We wanted to see him because the word went, cricket world, it goes very quickly, that come and watch Sachin Tendulkar. And that was it. You know, and CCI went and captured him and made him play there. So I decided, I was secretary of Bombay Gym at that time in '89, Rakesh, you would know. And I said, if he's got Tendulkar, we should get Kamli. And so we got Kamli to play, and there was a match against some Middle East team had come from Oman or somewhere. And this match was there, and I said, Kamli, will you play for us? And he came along and played for us as well. And I happened to also go into bat at that time. Now, I'd retired nearly 10 years before that, so there was nothing much. But the timing that I saw, Kamli, the way he was timing the ball, he got some 60, 70 runs, like you said. This young boy, I said, incredible. This chap must be, and I could imagine just what Tendulkar would have also been. And that was the given talent that these people had. And that's what most of that, even whether it's Virat Kohli or whether it's Sunil Gavaskar, all of them have something that is phenomenal. You know, in the sense they're born as cricketers. Kapil Dev was a another example of it. We are not, then we diverse a lot about it. But how can you decide who's the best out of that? I think each one of them, like I said, during our time, there were two test batsmen of the highest caliber. One was Sunil Gavaskar, naturally, and the other one was Vishwanath. All the others, I mean, you can take your records and you can break up and you can say what you want, were a step lower. I mean, I wouldn't like to demean anybody, but that was the difference. And teams wanted to get these two people out. West Indies always wanted to get both these people out, and whether it was a Gavaskar or a Vishwanath. And I'll give you some things about Gavaskar, which was tremendously, because we are talking a lot about Sachin Tendulkar, but you also have to realize in the 70s, there was a god of cricket also, and that was Sunil Gavaskar. And you've written a book on him, and you must have seen a lot on that. Where, coming to Sachin Tendulkar, then for us, he became like our son. You know, every cricketer, every person in India wanted him to do well. I think you all have been a part of it. When he used to go to bat, we were as nervous, maybe he was not, but we were as nervous for him to do. First, we wanted to showcase that we had somebody who was greater than anybody else in the world. And he did happen to become the best batsman in the world at that stage. Brian Lara was the only equivalent that he had at that stage. And whether it was a household, whether it was like, if it was an elderly woman, she looked at him as a son. We looked at him as one. And everyone had this great respect for him. And we were so happy that we have got to see somebody who was incredibly, incredibly good. Now, coming to Virat Kohli, because I'll come to Sunil last, because I know him the maximum and I can speak a lot about him, is Virat is a hard worker. I've spoken to his coach as well from Delhi, and he was always a hard worker and somebody who we suddenly admired when he became the captain of the Indian side, of the under-19 side, and they won the World Cup. But then he showed such brashness on the aircraft, when you could see the way he was celebrating, the way the things were going, that we didn't get that feeling of warmth towards him. We said, okay, he's another Indian cricketer, upcoming cricketer who is around, that way. And then he played and he did well, but he also started failing. And then suddenly there was a change in him. And I remember at a Chiat award function, Sunil Gavaskar gave him the trophy because he had done extremely well that year. And I don't know, it was at CCI or wherever. And Sunil asked him a very relevant question that, we knew you had the talent. What is the change that has brought you about? Can you sort of tell us about it? And he said, I had got lost. I had got wavered. I had lost my way. He said this in this interview, right there in front of all of us. And he said, then I realized what is important in my life. It was cricket. And I've given up everything. I'm now started concentrating only on cricket. And that is the sort of people who can make legends. After that, he has never looked back. We have seen him, the way he has performed. And those are the sort of mental strength and the sort of commitment of all these players. And especially now, Virat is still playing. He's got a long way to go. He's like, the three of them, I would say, is like exactly what India has gone through after independence. When you look at it, initially, India needed to, sustenance. We needed to concentrate. We were all docile. We were always on the ground that, we were a poor country. So concentration, resilience, those were the things which come to your mind and that is what Sunil Gavaskar was all about. He was establishing India after independence. Then arrived Sachin Tendulkar, who he preserved it. He grew towards it. He suddenly made us a worldwide name, like exactly what Indian economy was doing, Indian corporates were doing. From 92 onwards, India opened out, and after that, we have had India flourishing, Indian companies flourishing. Same way you could see Tendulkar making us as proud, and that's why things moved so much towards Tendulkar, because he was showing us exactly how India was progressing. And in cricket, we were progressing in the same way. Fortunately for him, he had people to help him. He had a Sehwag, he had a Ganguly, he had a Laxman, he had a Dravid, a Yuvraj as well. All of them with him. That was a phenomenal batting lineup when you look at it. They were all legends, basically. And that was the great thing of progressing. And now if you see the aggression, you see the confidence of the youngsters today is what Virat Kohli is spelling through. And we think after Kohli, I can see Yashasvi. Yashasvi, I think, I'm predicting that he's going to break Brian Lara's record of 400 runs. That is my prediction with him, because he's such a great stroke player, and on a good wicket, against something, he's a natural player. So he may take us to another level, so will maybe Gill as well. But that's how India has progressed, and these three players, when you're trying to compare with them who's better, is that can we talk about India, which era of India was the best? You cannot do that. And now coming down to Sunil Gavaskar, basically, for us, he was the greatest player that came across in our time. Remember, here was a man, again, I remember at school, I was very, very young. He had come to Rajkumar College, Rajkot. He was playing for Bombay schools against Saurashtra schools, and he got 100 at that time. And my father at that time gave him a bat. That was the first bat he ever received. He told me later, and much, much later as such. Then he came to play university cricket at that time. I was not in the side, but I felt sorry for all the other people who played against him. The least score was 99 against Maharashtra, and that also because he got run out. He had got runs against everybody. So we knew the talent he had, and then I went to watch the Ranji Trophy against Bombay, Maharashtra at Nehru Stadium, and he got 100. And we felt, wow, this was great. So we knew there was somebody who was unique as such. For me, I was very fortunate. I think the greatest moment of my cricketing career was to be his room partner for 4.5 months. Yeah. So, I mean, we shared the bed, naturally. We shared toothpaste. We did everything. It was during '79 World Cup, and as well as the England tour. And he chose me as his partner. And we remained, it was like, marriage, which at times used to go wrong. We used to be fighting with each other quite a bit. We would, naturally there was no money at that time. So there would be, in our room, there would be one chocolate. Whoever went quickly got it. Then we finally decided, no, we'll share it as such. But spending those 4 months with him, I realized what his mind was all about, what he thought about, how he looked at the sport. He knew exactly what he was going to do during that tour. He knew the bowlers he was going to play. That is what I'm saying about planning. Let me say something it's like you know, when we, in the morning, the toothpaste, where we would go along in the morning and we'd press it right in the center. The quickest way to put it onto our toothbrush. No, he would start right from the bottom to go upwards. And so when we had our marriage fights, I would press it right in the middle and leave it like that for him, you know, and he would be very upset about that. And I was not getting much chances during that time. And he said, Sonny, just concentrate. You know, you don't know when you'll get a chance. In England, he told me how to bat. He said, play across this way, and he was showing me. And he says, every time he'd make me go in front of a mirror and do that. I was not playing that day, but he said, please go on doing this thing. This is the only way you can succeed. So when I was coming to the planning part, he said, how have you planned this tour? I said, I'm happy that if I get a chance. But he had, you know, I want to play this bowler here. This English bowler is going to be bowling against me in the test match. This is where I should be concentrating. During a test match, his wife would be around, nothing, nobody could disturb him. He was so focused. And that was Sunil Gavaskar. You know, when we look at it, remember, there were no helmets, uncovered wickets. You had the Western fast bowlers, you had the English fast bowlers. We didn't have a fast bowler at that time to retaliate against this. So he didn't have practice of such speed. But he went, he opened for us. Now, whether you can compare him to a Tendulkar at number 4, as you know, once I think you have written it and everyone knows, he decided to go as a middle order batsman and 0 for 2. And I think, what was it? Viv Richard told him, whatever number you bat, you'll always be facing the
0. Score is 0.
The score is always going to be 0. But remember, he was also our information. Okay, when he was batting there, we had no idea about. Today you have these international bowlers. Look at in IPL, these youngsters are getting the chances to face these bowlers, face the different deliveries that these people are bowling. I remember when I went into bat against Bob Willis, the fastest bowler at that time. I mean, first of all, in a test match, you're nervous. If somebody says you're not nervous and you're not anxiety-driven, they must be joking. There's always the feeling of nervousness, the pit in your stomach. And you find this chap coming in bowling to you from somewhere there or from the outside. You have no idea whether he's going to bowl in-swinger, out-swinger, what is going to be his different angles that he's going to bowl, what are his deliveries as such. But by lunchtime, I had a problem, I faced it along, but also I knew at lunch, when Sunil was not out, he would come and say, that just be careful of this chap. He suddenly throws in an outswinger or he throws in an in-swinger. Because he was also protecting all of us. That was Sunil Gavaskar. He was not only playing for himself, and you all may have found, oh, he's too slow. He was studying. He was studying for not only for himself, but studying it for us as well, for the players who were coming in. How did we know that this chap had a late outswinger or he would suddenly change his action or something of that? This was the knowledge that he was giving us. And that's why on an uncovered wicket, with these bowlers bowling at him, he was still able to make a lot of runs and protect India. He saved us, he got us wins. As Shoaib Akhtar, quite rightly, they asked him, I think in an interview some time ago, that who would you say was the greatest player? Now, I'm not saying this, Shoaib Akhtar is saying it, is that he said Sunil Gavaskar. Because, and when I think about it, and I try and analyze, now I'm coming to analyzing, who was the batsman who could judge the delivery the best? And that, I would only say is to when Ravi he bowled So he knows, you know when you bowl an over-pitch ball, somebody is playing forward defensive. Some bowl a short ball, he's back foot defensive. That was Sunil Gavaskar. He never made a mistake on the length of a delivery. Tendulkar, I've seen, would put his leg out and then play it. And Virat Kohli does exactly the same. They can do it because they have protection. They have a helmet to protect them. You know, all these 340, 360 degree shots could not have been played during our side. If you had done this, it would have hit your head, you would have been in the hospital. Remember that we have to protect ourselves. To protect yourself, you needed technique. And why was it? Because if it hit your, if you got a ball from hitting your rib, you had a broken rib. You were anyway in the hospital. So you have to realize, and that's why you had leg slips, and now you don't have too many of those, because anybody you wanted to hit, you came around the wicket. If he was, and those were the sort of things that Sunil could do. You know, he played against it. I remember it was Dilip Sardesai's benefit match. By the way, is it okay if I keep on going?
Yes, sir.
Because otherwise, it was his benefit match, and Imran Khan had come for it. At that time, we used to have all of them coming here for all our benefit matches, which was great because you got to interact with people like Zahir Abbas and Imran Khan and everybody else. And Imran was bowling to Sunil Gavaskar. It was in Ahmedabad. And Imran told me, you feel that forward short leg and all that. So I said, yes. So he said, be there. I'm going to bounce at him. I'm going to make him bowl short. And when I bowl short, try and move in front and catch him when he just plays his defensive shot. And I said, okay. I said, this is good fun. Having two bowlers, you know, the Imran and the Shab, and Imran bowled 4-5 overs to him. And he would tell me that I'm bowling short, now be ready for it. And every time Sunil would play it, and the ball would drop down straight. It was drinks time, he comes to me and he says, plan over. You can't get him out in this manner. His defense is too strong for it. And that was what you talked about, defense. And that's what he needed. There was no getting hit here. There was no chest pad. And when you talk about protection, it is a very important factor. I remember we were playing at the Oval, and Tiger Patodi, Nawab Patodi, he brought in Sir Gary Sobers into and we were so thrilled to have Sir Gary Sobers come in to say hello to us. And naturally, I was just going to wear my pads and all, and my trousers were down, and I'd worn a thigh pad as such. And he brings him first to me, and I didn't know whether to lift my trouser or shake hands with the great man. So I was caught in this dilemma, and he came along, so I let my pants be. I said, at least let's shake hands with this man. So he looked at me and he smiled and he said, and then he asked me very nicely, he asked me, so what's that? So I said, sir, you know, there's a thigh pad. You know, it had just come in and we were very happy, it's a thigh pad. So I said, oh, so, okay, keep quiet. Don't say something like that. Tiger Patodi later fired me for asking him. I said, sir, during your time, what did you do? I mean, the ball comes in and hits your legs, and that's something very painful. He said, young man, I use the bat. They didn't read that. That was the difference, you know. He said, I use the bat, and Tiger Patodi naturally said, Isko puch rahe ho, tum kaise khelte ho? I said, that's how cricket has developed. And so for us, naturally, I mean, all of you have got the sentiment towards Tendulkar, and so did I. I mean, I would always want to see him doing well, and I would always like to see Virat Kohli and everyone else do well as well. But to be able to, I don't know, I leave it to your judgment of what I've said as to what Gavaskar was all about, what Tendulkar you all are very much familiar with. and what Virat Kohli is out. Just to end this, I can tell you, as a test batsman, I would say Sunil Gavaskar. Yeah. As the one-day international player, there was nobody else but Sachin Tendulkar. From the runs he's got, and the way he's done, and the way. And T20, as these two were not around, it's Virat Kohli, because he is done. He showed us what he is. But basically, if there was T20, if there was one-dayers, I mean, I know Sunil played over 100 one-dayers, but he was not mentally, in our time, if you hit the ball out of the nets a little high, we would be thrown out of the nets, because it was not the way to play cricket, is what conventional. So you have to remember he was brought up in that. But just to finish, one story was we were playing in Goa, and it was the Alam Trophy at that time. Yeah, Alam Trophy. And it was Mahindra's I was playing for, and he was for Nil Lawns. You were there also, I think, at that. And we had Duncan Fernie planned. I was very fortunate. That's another thing. I was very fortunate to be Sunil's room partner, so I got signed up by Duncan Fernie as well. And so I had the cricket, and he had to use, because he was contracted to use Duncan Fernie bats. And there was this one bat of mine which was terrible. I mean, I gave it to everyone, and we had Mahindra's, we had very good side. We had Ashok Wadekars, and we had all good players around there. And everyone tried this bat. And I said, this must be some Kashmir willow, which this chap has got it, Duncan Fernie, and given it. It was a third-rate bat. And what happened was Sunil's bat broke in the match before. And he said, he came to me and Sunny, we have this, by the way, we have this battle. Sunny, he says he claims Sunny as his name, although that is not true, because he was called Sunny because they couldn't call Sunil. That is why. While mine is Yajurveda, and to do with the Sun Veda, and there is a whole thing. We had even Amitabh Bachchan at one to decide upon it. And naturally, it was Sunil's party where it happened, so that chap, as usual, avoided the thing and said, both of you are right in that way. So anyway, so this comes to this bat, and everyone said, give him this bat, that horrible bat. So there was Pandurang Salgaonkar as well, that. So I gave Sunil, I've got this one bat, you can take that. So he said, great, and he took it. And he got 120 runs with it. He had Pandu for runs. Me naturally hit through 3 sixes, so there was no problems with that. And then everybody from the team, "Kaun sa bat diya usko yaar? What have you given him?" So I said, that one which none of us could bat with. And Sunil comes to me, this is the best I've had. Can I keep it? And that is what makes a player. It's not that. It's just that it's not the bat, it's not the equipment, it's how good you are. And that was Sunil Gavaskar. And thank you very much, all of you, to listen to it. And later I got an exchange, I got another bat from him and gave him this one, which he liked.
Thank you so much, sir, for those incredible insights. The way you portrayed the whole canvas, that was fantastic. And definitely at the end of the day, after listening to all of the stalwarts, we are so much richer on the cricketing knowledge part of it. Thank you so much for being the heart and soul of the event, sir.
Thank you.
We will really cherish this moment.